The cost of potholes is high for both drivers and for the city of Athens. Trump's new tariff on solar panels could harm the city's push for renewable resources.
And in sports, a look at what's coming up for the OU's women's basketball team.
Good evening, I'm Clark Wicks. Local solar panel installation companies are concerned customers won't be able to afford their products. President Trump placed a 30% tariff on solar cells last week, which raises the cost of solar energy. However, Southeast Ohio sales executive Rob Ryan is not letting the tax prevent him from achieving his mission of cleaner energy.
I'm trying to be part of the pioneering forefront that's moving America and the rest of the world towards, a cleaner way to produce energy. It's nothing that is, a huge major setback in my mind. And I just think that solar energy companies just need to keep pushing forward.
It is too early to see any noticeable changes within the company, but WOUB will have updates on that tax impact on local businesses. Now, one person is dead in Pike County this morning after a deputy-involved shooting. According to Sheriff Charles Reeder, the incident happened around 4 a.m. this morning. The sheriff says the deputy tried to pull over a vehicle on a traffic stop on State Route 124. Reeder says 3 suspects ran away after the vehicle pulled into a driveway. The deputy chased the suspects and shot one of them during an altercation. The deputy was treated for minor injuries at a local hospital. Now, 9 applicants are waiting for a decision that could grant a medical marijuana dispensary to Athens County. As part of the Ohio Medical Marijuana Initiative, 57 dispensaries will be chosen out of over 300 applications statewide. The state is divided into districts. Athens is in a district with Vinton County and Meigs County. 1 license has been allotted to that district, but no applications were submitted from operators in Vinton or Meigs. Now, did you know the city could be liable if your car is damaged from a pothole? But there's a catch. Newswatch reporter Chelsea Sick is in the studio right now with the details. Chelsea?
Yeah, Clark, I met with someone whose car was damaged from a pothole here in Athens. He told me why the city was not liable for the damage, but could have been.
After a warm end to the month of January, we're actually starting to cool back down and be more like a winter. As temperatures right now are sitting at 35 degrees, we started out the day at about 47 degrees. So the temperatures have dropped gradually since 11 a.m. this morning, and snow showers are starting to come into the area, starting that transition from rain over to the snow. And we could see a few accumulation, or a little bit of accumulation as we go into the evening hours. And Clark, back to you.
Thanks, Grant. Now, no agreement has been made yet about a new way to draw Ohio's congressional map. Closed-door negotiations between lawmakers and representatives from Citizens Group came to an end last night. Catherine Turser, the executive director for Common Cause Ohio, says the changes are not enough to accomplish her group's basic goals.
It does not address gerrymandering, it doesn't keep communities together, and it doesn't prohibit drawing a district map to favor or disfavor one political party. These are basic things that you want in any proposal.
Hours before talks ended last night, Governor John Kasich said any plan must have minority party input. Now, Governor John Kasich is also putting pressure on drug distributors. He announced today with the head of the State Pharmacy Board new regulations for the industry. Kasich wants to require drug distributors to report suspicious orders of opiates to state officials in addition to reporting to federal agencies. Distributors are also being urged to take a stronger role in the country's fight against the ongoing opioid epidemic. Now, the Republican-controlled West Virginia House passed a bill that would eliminate the Department of Education and Arts and move its programs at agencies elsewhere. The bill was approved on a 60-36 vote Wednesday, mostly along party lines, and now goes to the state Senate. Some of the department's agencies include Public Broadcasting, Culture and History, the Library Commission, and Volunteer West Virginia. Kentucky officials say they have installed more than 600 miles of fiber optic cables as part of a planned 3,200-mile broadband network across the state. However, Philip Brown, director of the Kentucky Communications Network Authority, said the project faces at least an 18-month delay. Delays have already cost the state over $8 million in penalties. Coming up after the break, Officials give a rare public apology for how they handled one case against Larry Nassar. Plus, Puerto Rico is getting a big boost. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
We are here for the same reason, although I suspect we hope for different results.
You know what they say, yeah, the wicked get no rest.
I do not admire you for this.
Looking at my heart, any place,
It's always sex, isn't it?
got so much to lose,
Love
got so much to prove.
or judgment.
We are not amused.
God. Trouble on my left, trouble on my right. I've been facing trouble on my side.
This is how you'll be a man.
Won't you pull me through?
Are you becoming squeamish?
Oh, God, your mother's here.
The lesbians. They're getting married. You're having a great time.
God, don't let me lose
Yes.
my mind. I've been getting used to waking up.
Come and play with us.
Onward and onward!
Good ideas open up a whole new world of possibilities.
The more you know about history, the more you know about yourself.
The sky's the limit.
Where I go, there you are.
Los Angeles Police Department has a suspect in custody after 5 people were hurt in a school shooting this morning. We're going to go over to Chelsea to finish our pothole story.
Thanks, Clark. I met with someone whose car was damaged from a pothole here in Athens. He told me why the city was not liable, but why they could have been.
My 2 tires of the aftermath of the pothole. As you can see, I have a bend here and a bend here, and you can't see, but there's a crack coming right through here and a crack coming right through here.
Chris Reimer says it happened after he hit this pothole on East State Street in Athens.
I avoided it the best I could and hit both my right side tires and ended up bending them, and then my rear right tire ended up going flat, so I had to replace that tire.
When ice and snow melts in the road, it separates the pavement, creating potholes. And yes, the city is responsible for patching those holes, but if they don't get to the pothole before you do, they are not responsible for damage.
Said that they weren't going to fix any of the damages, that the pothole was not claimed beforehand, so they technically had no idea it was there. So I'm pretty much out my money for my rims and my tire.
The pothole cost Chris almost $1,600 in damage.
The city will be liable for damage to a vehicle when they are aware of a specific pothole and fail and have constructive notice that that hole is there and fail to repair it in a timely manner.
When you come across potholes like this one, it is now quicker than ever to report. You just have to download the Athens City Source app on your smartphone. City officials are asking for patience from the community. In the winter, there are no permanent solutions when repairing a pothole.
The cold patch will wash out when it rains, so we have to keep refilling it and refilling it more and more. We would just ask that people are patient until we can get access to better material.
In the meantime, the best way to avoid potholes in the road is to drive slowly.
Now, Chelsea, is there a way for people to report potholes without a smartphone?
Yes, you can actually report a pothole on the City of Athens website as well. It is almost just as easy. It's just, of course, not as mobile, and it is more difficult to pinpoint the exact location of that pothole. For more information on how to report, visit woub.org and click the News tab.
Now, Los Angeles Police Department has a suspect in custody after 5 people were hurt in a school shooting this morning. The suspect is a 12-year-old female. Someone opened fire in a classroom at Castro Middle School where 2 students were shot. One of the victims, a 15-year-old boy, was shot in the head. Officials say he is in critical condition. A 15-year-old girl was shot in the wrist. The 3 other victims were treated for minor cuts.
This is a very important call to action to every adult in our community who has a gun. You must store it safely and keep it out of access for any child to reach.
The school has over 300 students in grades 6 through 8. Authorities say the situation is under control currently. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is giving Puerto Rico a boost. The department is awarding the island $1.5 billion to help it recover from Hurricanes Irma and Maria. The money will be used as grants to support long-term recovery of seriously damaged homes and businesses. Officials said earlier this week that nearly 500,000 customers remain without power in Puerto Rico, more than 4 months after Maria hit land. Now, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin is defending the Trump administration's decision to not move forward with new sanctions against Russia. Now, it comes after the U.S. Treasury on Monday released a sweeping list of prominent Russian businesses and political figures. The list was mandated by a congressional act meant to punish Russia and prevent President Trump from watering down Russian sanctions. Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown criticized Trump and told NPR, quote, "This Congress and the American people don't trust the president on Russia." President Donald Trump is calling on Senate Republicans to bring his immigration framework to a vote. Trump plans to urge lawmakers at a GOP retreat in West Virginia to back his plan for a pathway to citizenship for nearly 2 million young immigrants in exchange for over $20 billion for his border wall. That's according to excerpts of his remarks released by the White House. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he'll hold a vote on immigration as soon as next week, but it's unclear whether legislation would make it to the floor. Breanne Randall was 17 years old when she went to police in Meridian Township, Michigan, and told officials she believed she'd been abused by Larry Nassar. Today, officials took the rare step of issuing a public apology to Randall for the handling of her case. Kristen Holmes reports.
Hello, everyone.
Breanne Randall Gay was just 17 when she told police she'd been sexually abused by former doctor Larry Nassar. Today, more than a decade later,
the most important reason we're here, and that's to apologize.
A tearful public apology from the same police department that failed to forward her complaint to prosecutors.
We failed you. We let you down.
Randall Gay went to the former Michigan State University doctor with back pain in 2004. According to the police report, it was during her second visit that Nassar groped and attempted to penetrate her. The teenager and her mother went to authorities the next day. But investigators believed Nassar's explanation, that it was a medical technique.
We are sorry that we were manipulated and deceived.
Randall Gay faced Nassar last week, giving a powerful statement in court. The Meridian Township manager and police chief by her side.
The police questioned you, and you had the audacity to tell them I had misunderstood this treatment because I was not comfortable with my body. How dare you?
Officials announcing new preventative initiatives.
We're going to talk about good investigations, and we're going to talk about survivors and their needs.
Nassar was sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison last week after more than 150 women and girls said in court he had sexually abused them. I'm Kristen Holmes.
Randall was initially hesitant to travel to Michigan for Nassar's sentencing, but she decided to go to support the other victims. Her travel costs were paid by Meridian Township Police. Now, one of 2 teenage girls who plotted to kill a classmate for an internet character will be sentenced today. Morgan Geyser was 12 years old in 2014 when she and a friend tried to kill another student in their 6th grade class. Last October, she pleaded guilty to attempted homicide, but she was found not guilty by reason of mental disease. At the sentencing hearing today, she could be committed for up to 40 years, the maximum prison term for the offense she pled guilty. Now, heart disease is the leading cause of death for women in the United States. Next, we have tips to lower your chance of heart disease. That story still ahead.
We had some rain to start out the month of February, but that is gradually changing to snow, and we'll actually see some more of that snow as we move further into the forecast, and colder temperatures are also back into the forecast for the next 7 days. And here's your look at stocks of local interest.
I don't mind saying it.
Now you look like an astronaut.
My dream is to walk on the moon.
2, 1.
Look at this place. It's a crazy design.
It's nearly impossible.
What is the next step toward furthering our presence in the cosmos?
That was something.
Oh, this is incredible.
Very, very scary.
Reality is always more unbelievable than anything we could have imagined.
We're literally on the cutting edge.
Unreal.
How's it going, everybody? I am Nick Niehaus, the host of Hardwood Heroes. Be sure to keep up with us all season long. We have action to cover, and all 18 teams of ours are ready to ball out. We will have action for you on Twitter, Facebook, and even Snapchat, so make sure to always be on the lookout. Our shows are only once a week, but the action is almost every day. So make sure to keep up with our YouTube channel to see nightly recaps with our 2 online hosts. We will be your guide through the crazy world of Tri-Valley Conference basketball, so be sure to stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Hari Srinivasan from the PBS NewsHour.
And I'm Mark Brewer from WOUB.
Join me on PBS NewsHour and PBS NewsHour Weekend for the latest news and analysis of the issues that matter most to you.
Weeknights at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 5 right here on WOUB Public Media.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Grant Denman. After a mild morning, we have gradually dropped off as we went throughout the rest of the day. About 11 o'clock is when those temperatures began to drop. We're currently sitting at 35 degrees, and those snow showers are beginning to mix in with the rain that we had throughout the day. So those colder temperatures are definitely making a difference out there right now, as that wind has now shifted out of the west at 6 miles per hour. And as we go through as we look at the rest of the region, we are having a little bit of technical difficulties with the graphics wanting to switch here. But currently the region is looking about 20 degrees, 25 degrees across the northern part of the region, and about 30 degrees in our neck. 30 degrees in the northern part of the region, 28 degrees in New Lex, 35 in Jackson, 35 here in Athens, and our warm spot is actually in Ironton at 37 degrees. And currently those conditions are about snow, rain mix and across the region. As we look at today, we hit the high of 47 degrees. Our normal is 42, so we are above that for the morning, but we're actually going to be below that tomorrow, as our record high was 69, set back in 2002, and our low today is actually 43, but that's right now at 35 degrees, and our record low is -6, set back in 1899. And our region tonight, as we look at the temperatures, 15 degrees here in Athens, 13 in Newark. So across the region, it's going to be much cooler than what we've experienced for about the last 10 days, where those temperatures were in the 50s as daytime highs. And that snow and rain showers will gradually exit the region by about midnight. And as the we go through tomorrow, or tonight, that area of low pressure that's going through the region will exit, and tomorrow will be clear but extremely cold as temperatures will be about 26 degrees. That will continue into the weekend as temperatures will moderate a little bit, but our next chance of snow will actually be on Sunday, as that could be starting out as a snow, rain, and then ending as snow. So we could end with a couple inches of snow by the end of the day on Sunday, depending on how warm we get. And as we go into next week, we'll actually moderate a little bit on Monday, and then by Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday of next week, there's also another storm system that we could look at for another chance of accumulating snow. And as the storm comes through, it could be a rain-snow mix, unsure right now. But I don't know about you, Clark. It is going to be a wild 7 days in the coming future.
Oh, it sure sounds like it, Grant. Now, Friday is actually National Wear Red Day to help raise awareness and advocate for women's heart health. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for women in the United States. Now, lifestyle choices such as smoking, poor diet, and excessive alcohol can increase chances of heart disease. So can conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure. There are things you can do to lower the chances of heart disease. Choose foods low in saturated fats, cholesterol, salt, and added sugars. Get out, be active. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention suggests adults need 2.5 hours of exercise each week. Don't smoke and limit alcohol use. Also, know your numbers for blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, and body mass index.
Good evening, I'm Nick Mullins. The Cleveland Cavaliers have started to win lately, but they have an important week ahead. I'll explain why. And Waterford Lady Wildcats have dominated the TVC Hawking for a couple years now, and they had another good week this week. Find out why next on Newswatch. Thanks, and stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public TV station.
Going on, Hardwood Heroes fans, I am your host, Nick Niehaus. We are the authority on all things Tri-Valley Conference, and we have all the content you need. Be sure to stay tuned across all of our platforms so you never miss any of the action.
I can't feel my face anymore.
You're doing good. You're just a little slow.
Welcome to madness.
I'm expecting the unexpected.
The chicken feet really put me in a foul mood.
Join us for Family Ingredients Season 2.
Show me your mayonnaise, and I'll tell you who you are.
I can't wait to have a taste.
Now that's crispy.
Hello, I'm Paula Kerger, president of PBS. I'd like to tell you about a terrific new membership benefit called PBS Passport. With a qualifying donation, Passport brings more than 1,000 hours of great PBS and local programming to your computer, phone, or digital media player. You can catch up on shows you may have missed or revisit some of your favorites. The best part is that you can watch whenever you want. When you make your qualifying donation, you'll help to make all of the programs you love on this station possible, so don't delay. I know that you're going to love PBS Passport, so please make that donation right now, and thank you for your support.
Welcome back, I'm Nick Mullins. Earlier this week, the Waterford Lady Wildcats were named Ohio Division IV's #1 team. And last night, they took on Ohio Division II's 13th ranked team, the Warren Warriors. The battle of ranked teams went to the Lady Wildcats, who defeated the Warriors 45-34. Waterford's coach, Jerry Close, was glad these two teams were able to meet and play one another.
high school basketball is about, this atmosphere. You know, the gym was full tonight. You don't get a lot of full gyms like that.
Now, this was not an ordinary game. These two schools are 15 minutes away from each other and know each other very well, so it was a physical and fast-paced game. The game was about 16-12 with 5 minutes until halftime, but Rachel Adams knocked down 3 threes and Allie Kern added one, stretching the lead to 27-15 going into halftime. Now, Waterford wouldn't look back, and Kern rounded the night out with 12 points and 14 rebounds. From high school basketball to girls OU basketball, Ohio women's basketball, after falling to the Miami Redhawks last Saturday, that broke Ohio's 6-game win streak over the Redhawks. Despite the loss, Ohio still holds second place over Miami in the MAC East. The Bobcats will look to get back in the win column this Saturday. Ohio will be at home in the Convo when they take on the Redhawks, and the Bobcats will be at home at 1 p.m. on Saturday. Now, Ball State is second in the MAC East and is coming up winners of 4 straight. And Ball State has a record of 18-3. Now, let's move on to the NBA hardwood now. The Cavs, who are coming off a 2-point win against Miami, have surprisingly won 3 of their last 4 games. The win over the Heat was their first game without All-Star Kevin Love, who broke his hand and is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks. The tough it out win over the Heat was a good sign with this team in turmoil. Now, with the trade deadline in 7 days, the Cavs will be looking to improve their team any way possible. Recent LeBron James rumors have been swirling, and next week is going to be an important one on and off the court. On the court, the Cavs face off against the Houston Rockets and MVP candidate James Harden this Saturday. Now, the Columbus Blue Jackets had a heartbreaking shootout loss at home on Tuesday night. They'll try to get back in the win column when they welcome the San Jose Sharks to Nationwide Arena on Friday night. Columbus has dropped 4 of their last 6 games, and San Jose is on a 4-game losing streak. Moving from Columbus, we head back to Athens. Ohio Wrestling has won 3 of their last 5 matches and will be back in action this weekend. They will be at home at the Convo, taking on Gardner-Webb on Sunday at 1:15 p.m. Gardner-Webb is currently 1-7, and Ohio is 3-6 on the season. The Bobcats have not had a match since January 21st when they won against Northern Illinois. From the mat to the track, Ohio Track and Field has made some adjustments to their meets this weekend. Ohio is heading to Marietta after bringing home 2 wins and 9 top 10 finishes last weekend at the Thundering Herd Invitational. The Bobcats are going to Marietta to take place in the Marietta Alumni Open tomorrow instead of competing in the Akron Invitational. I'm Nick Mullins, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Clark.
Thanks, Nick. Now, the Mars Curiosity rover looks to be having fun taking selfies on the red planet. This is courtesy on Mars' Vera Rubin Ridge, which has been investigating the last several months. That mountain is Mount Sharp, where Curiosity has been primarily based since landing on Mars 5 years ago. Mount Sharp provides Curiosity with access to the red planet's layers, which were formed over millions of years. Now we're going to go back to Grant for a look at our final weather.
Thanks, Clark. As we go through the evening, those snow showers are actually going to come to an end with maybe a ½ inch or so. With the temperature being at 16 degrees, the winds will kick up from the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And as we go through tomorrow, those temperatures will actually be a colder than today at 26. And as we look at the weekend, more snow is going to be into the forecast. So, Clark, it's going to be an interesting weekend.
Now, I'm Clark Wicks, and that's it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news at WOUB.org. Have a great night.